Good afternoon, my friends. It's Monday afternoon and Nana has another story. Another story, a Christmas story called The Christmas Ship. Have you ever been on a ship or a little boat or maybe just a little tiny boat like a kayak or a canoe? Well, this looks like a very big ship. And it's called the Christmas ship. So let's find out about the Christmas ship. Oh, and there is a picture of Santa. Must be Christmas Eve. And Santa's flying through the sky in a sleigh with his reindeer. I wonder, does he need a new sleigh? Maybe it's a Christmas ship instead. Let's find out. Okay. It was still early on Christmas Eve. The village toy maker, Sam Thatcher, was hard at work hoping to finish up all the toys before dark. Thump, thump, thump. Look at all of those toys that he's been making. Oh, there he is. All around him were hundreds of toys. They lined the shelves and spilled onto the floor because he had to make a lot of toys for all the children. Thump, thump. He is making all kinds of things. Now, what was that noise? Sam went to the front door. Outside, his friends Joey, Sarah, and Michael were throwing snowballs. Must have been snowing at his house. Careful, he warned them. If you hit this old shop too hard, it might fall into the harbor and sink my boat. Joey stopped in mid-throw. Could that really happen? He's asked. Sam's shop did look a bit rickety. Not the way you throw, said Sarah. Sarah didn't think he could throw very well. Michael started to laugh, but his face suddenly froze. See you later, he whispered, and darted around the corner. Hello, Olivia. Is Lainey and Claire with you? We're reading The Christmas Ship. Ooh, he looks like a pretty stern man coming to the door. Joey and Sarah turned around. Michael's father, the town mayor, was approaching. Merry Christmas, Mayor, Sam said. The mayor waved the comment aside. Never mind all that. You've had 6 months to make the repairs I ordered. He stepped into the shop. It doesn't look like you have even started. Sam sighed. Well, Mayor, I just need a little more time. Just as Lainey is still sleeping? Okay. Awesome. I have every intention of. You've had long enough. Snapped the mayor. This shop is falling apart. I'm closing you down. The mayor picked up a stone and nailed a sign to the door. Condemned per order of the mayor. Ooh, he wasn't a very nice man, was he? He was going to close Mr. Thatcher down of making all his toys. Well, Joey and Sarah followed Sam back into the shop. There must be something we can do, said Joey. Yes, said Sam, there is. Go home and get ready for Christmas, but not without these. He picked up 2 presents and gave them out. It's beautiful, said Sarah, peering into her telescope. Mine too, said Joey, examining the sailboat. But what about the shop? Don't worry about that, Sam told them. Now hurry on home. It's getting late. There's the boat that Joey got and the telescope that Sarah got. Ooh, who's that? Mr. Santa Claus. Once the children were out of sight, Sam sat down wearily. The shop condemned. He knew he should start packing up, but he couldn't bring himself to begin. He just sat under the rising moon, not even bothering to light the fire. Suddenly, he heard a clattering on the roof. A gust of wind stirred the ashes in the fireplace and rushed through the room, knocking some toys off the shelves. Then, with a great whoosh, a visitor came right down the chimney. "Father Christmas!" exclaimed Sam. They were old friends, and sometimes Sam filled special orders that came from the North Pole. "Need some last-minute stocking stuffers?" Father Christmas shook his head. "Not tonight, Sam. Actually, there's a big storm brewing over the ocean, and I'm running behind. I need you to make my deliveries here in Old Bridgeport." "Me?" said Sam. But how? I have no sleigh or reindeer, and soon no shop," he added to himself. Father Christmas smiled. "True enough," he said, "but I know you'll find a way," and without another word, he was gone. Now, Father Christmas is another name for Santa Claus in other countries, and that's what they called them in this place, was Father Christmas. So Sam shook his head. How can I possibly deliver so many presents? He bent down to pick up the fallen toys. To do that, I'd need some sort of the stuffed rabbit at his fingertips suddenly sat up. Magic! Sam looked around the room. All the fallen toys were standing and stretching and walking around. Do you think that toys can do that? They can just stand up and walk around? Well, in this story, they did. Sam laughed out loud. "Well, Father Christmas, I see you've taken care of my helpers, but what about the sleigh? Maybe that's where the Christmas ship comes in." The rabbit hopped to the window and and pressed his nose against the glass. Sam went over for a look. There was his boat, tied up to the dock. But even in the dark, Sam could tell something was different about it. He hurried outside, and the toys shuffled along beside him. Father Christmas had been busy. On either side of the boat, the fishing nets lay heavy with brightly wrapped gifts, and a scroll of names hung from the ship's wheel. "Quiet," Sam whispered as the toys scampered on board. "Everyone is asleep." But Sam was mistaken. In his attic bedroom, just a few houses away, Joey tossed and turned, worrying about Sam and his shop. Suddenly, Joey heard a noise outside. He looked out the window to see Sam walking toward his boat. But who was with him? And why? Why, they almost look like toys! He cried, jumping up and throwing his coat right over his pajamas. Maybe Joey's gonna go help Sam. Let's train to the other side here. On board the ship, the toys climbed up the rigging and unfurled the sails. "Here now," said Sam, "be careful." The toys scampered from stern to stern, casting off lines as the ship came free of the dock. Sam ran for the wheel. A sudden wind filled the sails. "Hang on, everyone," said Sam, not sure himself what would happen next. At that moment, the bow rose from the water and the little ship sailed into the sky. It didn't even float in the water anymore. It was in the sky. That's a pretty special ship. Have you ever seen a boat in the sky? Well, let's see. As Sam worked to steer the boat, it lunged to starboard, and Joey stumbled out of the hatch. "Hello, Sam," he said. "Joey, what are you doing here?" There was a long pause as Joey looked back down to the harbor. "I'm not sure." "Never mind," said Sam. He told Joey what was happening. "There's no time to return you home now, so make yourself useful. Go to the bow and keep a good lookout." With Joey shouting instructions and Sam consulting the list, the ship sailed on. At each house, the toys lowered rope ladders over the rail and gathered up the presents. It took practice. Look it. Here we go. That was a toy. He's trying to get toys down the chimney. And more practice. Oops. The sleigh is falling. It didn't quite make it to the chimney. And to get the gifts safely inside. It looks like Mr. Bunny Rabbit is upside down inside the chimney with the toys he brought. 5 houses, then 10, and soon Joey lost count. But he noticed when they arrived at the mayor's house. "I'll take down Michael's gift," Joey offered. "What about his father's?" asked Sam. Joey frowned. "Do we have any coal on board?" Sam pointed at his list. "Joey, the mayor's name is right here." He reached into the net, "and here's his gift. So let's show a bit more Christmas spirit, hey?" Joey just sighed. Silently, they entered the house, and Joey put Michael's gift in his stocking while Sam placed the mayor's on the mantel, and then they quickly went out again. Long into the night, Sam and his crew sailed over the village, and they made their way through Father Christmas's list. Street by street, house by house, and room by room. There's the ship. The stars were winking out when Sam and Joe finally finished as the ship neared the harbor. It slowly descended like a balloon losing its air. The toys secured the last lines, but they began to yawn and stumble about. "I think the magic is winding down," said Sam. When the ship docked and he and Joey carried the slumbering toys back inside, "Well, we did it," Sam said. I know. The toys were great, and wait till Michael finds out I delivered his present. And Sarah, and she'll..." Joey frowned. "But what about the shop, Sam?" "Never mind about that now. It's almost morning," and Sam patted Joey's shoulder. "Now, you run on home." The harbor was now quiet and empty. So Joey went home. Sam watched as Joey returned to his house. Someone else was watching too. It was the mayor. He stared hard at the shop door, and then he took out his new hammer and pulled down his sign. What do you think the mayor is thinking? "Merry Christmas," he muttered, his face softening just briefly before his scowl returned. But it was too late. The wind had picked up the kindness in his words and carried them across the village and into the early morning. And once a spirit like that gets out, almost anything can happen. So, since the spirit of kindness and love came to the town because of all the work that Sam and Joey did in delivering all the presents for Santa, what do you think the mayor did? Do you think the mayor closed the Sam shop? Probably not. He could see, and maybe he even took his new hammer and helped Sam rebuild his shop and fix it so it would be all better. That's what I think happened. That the Christmas love was in the story. And that's what helped Sam save his shop and the mayor to have a very much more loving heart. So that's what we need to remember at Christmas time. And then we can show our love for other people and do special things with them. That's what the Christmas ship is all about. That's what Christmas is all about. I'm glad you joined us. Thank you so much for joining Lainey's sleeping, but Olivia, I love it, and I love it when you come, and Ella, and Jake, and Cody, and whoever else is on and listens later. Thank you for joining, and we'll have another story tomorrow. Have a great day. Mwah. Love you.